Hello students and all the viewers. Welcome to the PG Pathshala. So, myself Dr. Sangeeta Semwal from Ministry of Electronics and IT, Government of India. So, I am from Nanotechnology Division and today I am going to talk about a module which is related to electronics. Just to relate it to the last module where we discussed about the semiconductors, what semiconductors are basically related to the electronics area. So, in this particular module, we will be discussing about some electronics devices, the basic devices. In the last module, when we studied about the basics of semiconductors and also learned that almost all electronic devices available in market are semiconductor based devices. The most common semiconductor device is PN junction diode, which we are going to discuss in this particular module. Use of the semiconductor materials to build the electronic component started with the diodes. Before the invention of diode, vacuum tubes were used in 19th century. But actually scientists were looking for an alternate which they can replace with the vacuum tubes because of their high power consumption and the size. Now both the diode and the vacuum tubes devices are similar, but in case of vacuum tubes the size occupied and the power consumption is much greater than the diodes. That's the reason they tried to replace all the devices with the diodes. Now coming to the construction of vacuum tubes was also a bit complex and they were very difficult to maintain as compared to the semiconductor diodes. Main feature of any diode is that it conducts only in one direction, which we will discuss in detail in the coming this module. So that is the reason it is also known as a unidirectional device. The present module discusses about the basics and applications of semiconductor diodes. It will be covering all the aspects related to the PN junction diodes. Before we study about the PN junction diode, we will just study about what are the majority and the minority charge carriers, and then we will be discussing about the intrinsic and the extrinsic semiconductor, which we discussed in the last module also. Just to brief, just to summarize it up, we will just take it further. And then we will be defining what is a diode, what kinds of the diodes are available in the market, and then how to construct a diode for any particular application. In related to the diode, one important terms is there, which is known as a depletion layer. We will discuss that in detail. Further, how this diode is related to the biasing, which is further divided into two categories, the forward biasing and the reverse biasing. Then to study the characteristics of the diode, we have voltage current characteristics. Then Zener diode, different type of diode is there. Related to that, we have some breakdown, Avalanche and the Zener breakdown. Diode can be used as number of appliances. It can be used as a rectifier. Then further more applications of the diodes will be discussed in detail. Initially, to give an introduction about what a semiconductor, as we discussed, the conductivity of which lies in between the metals and the insulators. Again, dividing into the two categories, we can say that the intrinsic and extrinsic semiconductors are further there. So, the pure semiconductor is definitely there and it is affected by the conductivity of it is affected by the doping. If we dope an intrinsic semiconductor with a third or the fifth group element from the periodic table, the conductivity can be enhanced and we get different types of semiconductor known as a p-type or the n-type semiconductors. P-type semiconductor has a majority charge carriers of the holes and the minority as electrons, whereas the n-type semiconductor has excess electrons and the negative charge as a minority carriers. But when you talk about a diode, it is basically a term which can be explained by dividing into two terms again, di and ode. Di means two and the ode means two electrodes, which is obtained from the electrode term. So ideally a diode has two terminals or the electrodes, one is connected to the p-type and another is connected to the n-type. PN junction diode is formed either by using any semiconductor such as silicon or the germanium depending upon our requirement. The p and n-type regions are referred to as anode and cathode respectively. Anode is for positive, cathode is for negative. Its circuit symbol is shown in the figure. If you look at the symbol of a PN junction diode, where we have a block of a semiconductor, half of which is represented as a P, half of which is represented as a N, and then its logical symbol shows a arrowhead direction. Arrowhead direction basically shows the direction of current in the symbol. If you look at the different types of the diodes available in the market, if you will see, you have plenty number of diodes and several types of the diodes are available. which can be divided into different categories known as a PN junction diode, gun diode, laser diode, light emitting diode, photodiode, spin diode, backward diodes, Schottky diodes, and number on, so on, so on, so on. Depending upon application, depending upon their response to the voltage, depending upon the types of doping, they can be divided into different categories, and based on that they can be used for a particular application also. So these applications are actually what we require for our general purpose. As we see, we will discuss some of those diodes in detail in the present module also. So if you look at those diodes, these diodes are basically used for different applications. The major applications is known as a rectifier, which we will definitely discuss in detail this present module, and also this can be used for number of other applications, for example amplifiers, rectifiers, then as an oscillator, but as a component only. Before we discuss that in detail, we will just discuss how a diode can be formed. A simple process of fabricating or of making a diode is, PN junction diode is, take a simple piece of a semiconductor, intrinsic semiconductor, and join, either you join a p-type or n-type semiconductor together and you will get a PN junction diode, but that is not the actually practical way of fabricating a semiconductor diode. It is basically formed by taking a simple intrinsic semiconductor and half of which is doped with the p-type impurity, that is third group element, and other half is doped with the n-type impurity, that is fifth group element. And the PN junction plane, which is formed by joining or doping half of the semiconductor by two different doping, is known as a junction. That is the reason it is known as a PN junction diode. Now coming to at the junction, at the dividing plane, the holes in the p-type attract electrons from the n-type material. You know, the opposite charges attract each other. The moment you join the p and n-type semiconductors, there is a diffusion. Diffusion means a concentration gradient difference allows the electrons to recombine with the holes in the p-type material, which causes a small region of n-type near the junction to lose electrons. That is, electrons move to the p-type and that becomes an intrinsic semiconductor. Similar way, when p side is also a region which becomes an intrinsic semiconductor, because the electrons from the n-type have recombined with the holes with that. So the thin intrinsic region in between the p and n region is known as a depletion layer. If you look at that figure, you will see that this depletion region offers high resistance and prevents further movement of majority of the charge carriers. So ideally, if you look at that, this diffusion layer, this diffusion causes the depletion layer to become an intrinsic layer and the space charge is formed. Looking at the characteristics of this depletion layer, the PN junction diode has basically main characteristics: a thin depletion layer on both sides of the junction are formed. It is depleted of free charge carriers. The thickness of this layer is around 10 to the power minus 6 meters. It is also called as a space charge. Potential barrier is developed across the junction, and because of that electric field is generated which behaves like a barrier, and the further diffusion of the electrons are prevented by using this electric field. Also, because of the charge difference between the two layers, there is a capacitance effect. Due to the presence of this layer, this capacitance effect allows you to tailor the properties of the PN junction diode, for example in a varactor diode. We will discuss that also. The width of the depletion layer is a very important parameter, and it is a function of both the applied bias, that how much voltage you are applying to the PN junction diode, as well as the doping of the P and N side. In a bias condition, the width of the depletion layer changes with respect to the applied voltage, which eventually actually increasing this voltage, you can increase the amount of the current flow also. So depending upon how much voltage you have applied, in what form this voltage is applied to the PN junction diode, this depletion layer can be modified. The width of the depletion layer can be modified. Coming back to, as we discussed in the introduction part, a term, very important term is there, which is called biasing. If a PN junction diode is not connected to any battery, that is called zero biasing. But the moment you connect an external bias to the PN junction diode, it is called bias. That is called, the process is called biasing. So the zero bias is when it is not connected to any battery, almost no current passes through the diode. However, if anode and cathode of the diode are connected directly, a small voltage or current that is insignificant is still observed. But for the practical reasons, this current can be assumed to be 0. So, ideally in no bias condition we say there is no flow of current, and this is a equilibrium stage actually we are talking about. Now, there are another options. We can connect a external battery to the PN junction diode. This PN junction diode can be connected to external battery in two ways. So, the one way, a very good way, is called forward biased and the reverse biased. In reverse biasing, when you connect the P terminal of a PN junction diode to the N terminal of the battery and N side of the semiconductor diode to the P terminal of the battery, that is opposite terminal are connected to the different types of opposite sides of the PN junction diode. So, ideally in this condition the holes in the P type gets recombined by electrons from the battery. That is, the moment you connect to the different terminals, opposite terminals, the holes will be combined to the electrons. The electrons in the N type material are pulled out of the diode by the positive terminal of the battery. So, the diode gets depleted of the charge again. So, although depletion layer was already there, but the moment you connect a reverse bias, initially the depletion layer starts widening and it occupies the entire diode. That is, the region which were there, depleted region were there, it becomes wider. The resistance in this particular situation becomes very high. The current in the reverse bias is only because of the minority charge carriers, which is in nanoamperes in silicon and microamperes in case of high power silicon and germanium diode. So, if you look at that forward bias diode, you can say, or reverse biasing of the PN junction diode, you see that the current in this case is very low, which is nanoamperes, which is assumed to be a constant saturated current. We will discuss that in detail, how this current can be used for the particular application. And coming back to the forward bias, if you talk, this forward biasing of the PN junction diode is when the P terminal of the P side of the semiconductor diode is connected to the P terminal of the battery and N side of the PN junction diode is connected to the N terminal of the battery. That is, in this case the same terminals are connected to the same side of the PN junction diode, making it the forward bias. During this forward bias, this positive of the battery pumps more holes into the P region of the diode. So, ideally the negative terminal also start pumping electrons into the N region. So, both these excess of charge in the P and N type region put pressure on the depletion layer, which was already there, but it was hardly of any width, and make it contract further. As the voltage increases, the depletion layer becomes thinner and thinner, and hence diode offers lesser and lesser resistance. So, ideally in forward bias, if you look at that, the voltage applied to the circuit, a particular voltage which is known as the threshold or the cutoff voltage for this particular depletion layer disappears by pressure pressure applied by the majority charge carriers, and hence from this point onwards the diode starts to conduct very easily. From this point on, the diode current increases exponentially to the voltage applied. That is, up to certain level, in forward bias, the current is slowly increasing. But the moment this threshold voltage reaches to a specific value in a particular diode of silicon or germanium, we see that this current increases exponentially and becomes greater. So, this resistance in this particular situation becomes very low, it offers a very low resistance and make it conduct, this PN junction diode start conducting. So, ideally we can say in the reverse biasing the diode is not conducting, whereas in forward biasing the diode is heavily conducting. To define it further, we have some characteristics of voltage and current. To explain this, we have to plot a graph between the applied voltage and the current flowed in a PN junction diode, and this graph specifically is known as the voltage current characteristics. You know, if we plot a voltage on x-axis and current on the y-axis, we have 4 quadrants, and if voltage is positive, the current is positive, the first quadrant is known as a forward biased current, forward biased zone, and the third quadrant where the voltage is negative and the current is negative is known as the reverse biased quadrant. So, now coming to the forward VI characteristics of the PN junction diode, you know, when the positive terminal of the battery is connected to the P type semiconductor and the negative terminal of the battery is connected to the N side of the PN junction diode, it is said to be in a forward bias. I think that we have to keep in mind now onwards, that forward bias when P sides are connected and N sides are connected. So basically in forward biased we know that the VF, that the threshold voltage or the cutoff voltage represent it represent the minimal voltage which is required to increase the current in the circuit. If the external voltage applied on the silicon diode is less than 0.7 volt, less than 0.7 volt in a particular diode of silicon, it allows hardly small any current. So the reason is, however, this small electric current is considered as negligible, but the moment the external voltage applied on the silicon diode exceeds this value, it reaches to a particular value of 0.7 volts, the PN junction diode starts allowing large electric current through it. At this point, a small increase in voltage increases the electric current rapidly. The forward voltage at which the silicon diode starts allowing large electric current is called cut-in voltage. The cut-in voltage for silicon diode is approximately 0.7 volts, whereas for germanium it is 0.3 volts. The reverse, if you look at the reverse VI characteristics of a PN junction diode, it becomes very important because it's a very major part of this application. If the negative terminal of the battery is connected to the P side of the semiconductor and the positive terminal of the battery is connected to the N type semiconductor of a PN junction diode, it is said to be in reverse biased. In reverse biasing, the PN junction diode, the VR, basically the reverse voltage, it represents that the reverse voltage is in proportion with the IR, that is the reverse current. If the external reverse voltage applied on a PN junction diode increases, we have to apply a large voltage in this case. The free electrons from the N type semiconductor and the holes from the P type semiconductors are moved, but they move away from the PN junction, which increases the width of the depletion layer. The width of the depletion layer becomes wider and wider with the reverse biased PN junction, as we discussed earlier also, and the diode completely blocks the majority charge carrier current. However, it still allows the minority charge carriers to flow. The free electrons, that is the minority charge carriers in the P type semiconductors, and the holes, minority charge carriers in the P type semiconductor, they carry the electric current. The electric current which is carried by the minority charge carriers in the PN junction diode is also known as the reverse current. So this reverse current is now a major part or important part of a reverse biased PN junction diode. So ideally we can say that in N type and the P type semiconductors, very small number of minority charge carriers are present. Hence a small voltage applied on the diode pushes all the minority carriers toward the junction. Thus further increase in the external voltage does not increase the electric current, and this electric current is called reverse saturation current. That is, it becomes constant with the voltage. You keep on increasing the voltage, but the current will not increase. It becomes saturated, it becomes maximum at that level, and further increase in voltage will not change any current in the circuit. So this voltage where this becomes saturated is known as a reverse saturation current. This reverse saturation current again depends upon number of parameters, and ideally if you look at the temperature of the PN junction diode, so it depends on the temperature of the, it depends upon the temperature, it depends upon the generation of the minority charge carrier increases, because temperature gives more energy to break those bonds. Hence the reverse current increases with the increase in temperature. However, the reverse saturation current is independent of the external reverse voltage. Hence, the reverse saturation current remains constant with the increase in voltage. However, if the voltage applied on the diode is increased continuously, the PN junction diode reaches to a state where junction breakdown occurs. Suddenly it happens. So, at a particular voltage, you will observe that the moment the current remains saturated up to a certain value of the voltage, but at a particular voltage, this breakdown occurs. In germanium diode, if you look at, a small increase in temperature generates large number of minority charge carriers. the number of minority charge carriers generated in the germanium diode is greater than the silicon diode. That shows that the reverse saturation current in the case of germanium diode is greater than the silicon diode. Now, based on that, we have another kind of diode like besides this PN junction diode, which had been given a name Zener diode. A Zener diode is a special type of device or a PN junction diode which is designed to operate in the Zener breakdown region. So, this breakdown region where this current suddenly increases is acts like a normal PN junction diode under the forward bias condition. But when a forward biased voltage is applied to the Zener diode, it allows large amount of electric current and blocks only a small amount of electric current. Zener diode is heavily doped than the normal PN junction diode. That's the characteristic, that's a property of a Zener diode, that you have to make these junction, this P and N side of the junction very highly doped. Hence, it has a very thin depletion layer. A Zener diode allows more electric current than the normal PN junction diode. A Zener diode allows electric current in forward direction like a normal diode, but also allows electric current in the reverse direction if the applied reverse voltage is greater than the Zener voltage. Zener diode is always connected in reverse direction because it is specifically designed to work in the reverse direction. So, describing it more about the Zener diode, if you look at the symbol of the Zener diode, it is exactly similar to the normal PN junction diode. Only difference between the Zener diode symbol and a PN junction diode is the line is bit curved and it is in the form of Z. So, basically a Zener diode is having a feature where it works in the reverse biasing. So, this breakdown which we talked about, the reverse biasing, is actually divided into again two categories. One is known as avalanche and the another is known as the Zener breakdown. Based on that, we have avalanche diode as well as a Zener diode. Now, if we start talking about these two breakdown, this will depend upon the applied voltage and how these two Zener diode and the avalanche diodes are used for different applications. So, we will just try to understand the difference between the avalanche and the Zener breakdown. If a reverse biased voltage is applied to the PN junction diode and it is continuously increased, a sudden rise in the current occurs, but at this particular point a small increase in voltage rapidly increases the electric current, as we discussed earlier also. So, this sudden rise in the electric current causes a junction breakdown which is known as a Zener or the avalanche breakdown, though both have given the same name. But the mechanism of these two breakdowns are totally different. The voltage at which the Zener breakdown occurs is known as a Zener breakdown, Zener voltage, and the sudden increase in the current is known as a Zener current. A normal PN junction diode does not operate in breakdown region because it is not made up for that purpose actually, because the excess current permanently damages the diode. So, that is the reason to make a diode working or functioning in this particular region, you have to opt for a specific diode which is known as a Zener diode. Normal PN junction diodes are not designed to operate in reverse breakdown region. If you look at the breakdown in Zener diode, there are two types of the reverse breakdown region in the Zener diode. One is known as avalanche and the another is Zener breakdown. So, first we will discuss about what is avalanche breakdown. Avalanche means, actually if you look at this term itself, it represents how this breakdown will occur. It occurs in both normal diode as well as in the Zener diode, but it occurs at the high reverse voltage. When you increase this reverse voltage at the PN junction diode, the free electrons which are in the minority, they gain large amount of energy and are accelerated to extent that these start moving at a very high speed and they start colliding with the atoms of the material and they knock off more and more electrons from the material. These electrons are again accelerated and collide with other atoms. So, this process continues and this collision continues and a large number of free electrons are generated hereby. If you look at the result, the electric current in this diode increases rapidly in this situation. This sudden increase in electric current may permanently destroy the normal diode. Remember what we said, this may permanently destroy the normal diode if you make a normal PN junction diode to work in this region. However, avalanche diode may not be destroyed because they are carefully designed to operate in this avalanche breakdown region. So, Zener breakdown, if you want to describe what is actually the Zener breakdown, the Zener breakdown occurs in heavily doped p-n junction diodes because of its narrow depletion layer. When reverse bias voltage applied to the diode is increased, a narrow depletion layer generates strong electric field. When this reverse bias voltage applied to the diode reaches close to the Zener voltage, the electric field in the depletion layer is strong enough to pull electrons from the valence band. These valence electrons, which gain sufficient energy from the strong electric field of depletion layer, will break bonding with the parent atom. The valence electrons which break bonding with the parent atom become free, and these free electrons conduct heavily and they carry current with them from one place to another place. So, a Zener breakdown region, a small increase in voltage rapidly increases the electric current. So, if you look at the difference, you can immediately say there are few differences between the avalanche and the Zener breakdown. A Zener breakdown occurs at a low reverse voltage, whereas the avalanche breakdown occurs at a high reverse voltage, because it has to provide the sufficient energy to the electrons in the material. The breakdown region is a normal operating region for a Zener diode. Zener breakdown occurs in Zener diode with Zener voltage less than 6 volts, whereas the avalanche breakdown occurs voltage with higher than this 6 voltage, greater than 6 volt. Now, if you have to find out the difference between a heavily doped and a lightly doped p-n junction diode, as we said, we have to dope these materials 1 is to 10 to the power 8 millions, that the one part in the 1 million. But in heavily doped materials, we are talking about when a part is added to the 10 to the power 6 atoms of the intrinsic material. That is, to make a Zener diode, you have to make a material heavily doped. So, this is the region you can say that the category can be divided into 3 categories. One is heavily doped, lightly doped and the moderate doped. So, now coming back to, if you have to define a ideal diode, which we discussed till now is a simple p-n junction diode, but this can again be divided into different categories, which is known as an ideal diode or a practical diode. So, ideal diode is a diode, two terminal device which actually allows electric current without any loss under the forward bias and completely blocks the electric current with infinite loss under the reverse bias. So, that makes a particular device which can be used for number of purposes. So, it has numerous applications in various areas of electronics. A p-n junction diode can be used for the purpose of rectification, in clamping circuits for the DC restoration, in clipping circuits for the wave shaping, in voltage multipliers, as switch in the digital logic circuits used in computers. As we said, it can be used in forward bias as a highly conducting, and reverse bias it does not conduct. So, it can be used as a digital logic circuit, it can be used as a switch in the computers, and it can again be utilized or further utilized for the demodulation circuits. It can be used in the laser diode, used in the optical communications. It can be used in light emitting diodes for the digital displays. It can be used in the voltage regulator. In voltage regulator, basically the Zener diode is used because it is used in the reverse biasing. Now, coming to the main application of a p-n junction diode, we know it can be basically used as a rectifier. What is rectification? So, basically you know that there is two types of the current, one is the alternating current, one is the DC current, that the direct current. So, AC current is which flows in both the direction, but for some applications we require the DC power supply. If you have to get the DC supply, you have to use a battery which is not economical. So, we need an alternating source which can convert a AC source to AC power to DC power. So, this conversion of a AC voltage to the DC voltage is called rectification. So, as we know that p-n junction diode has a feature which can be conducting only in a particular situation in one block. So, that is, in forward bias it will conduct, in reverse bias it will not conduct. So, that is, it can behave like it will pass current only in one direction that is unidirectional, it can be used as a unidirectional device, and it can block the current in the other half. So, it behaves like a rectifier circuit. So, rectification can further be divided into two categories. One is called half wave rectification, another is called full wave rectification. So, if you want to see the difference between the half wave rectification and the full wave rectification, that we can always discuss in detail. But to summarize what we studied till now, we have actually discussed about the p-n junction diode in the large number of semiconducting devices, because besides being important circuit in itself, it can be used for number of other applications. Present module focused on the construction, functioning, principles of a semiconductor diode, the characteristics of the p-n junction diode under reverse bias and the forward bias conditions, and the flow of currents are we also discussed. The concepts of the Zener and avalanche breakdowns are also depicted to understand the functioning of a Zener diode. Also, we try to highlight that the diode can be used as a rectifier. It is essential to study the diodes for the understanding of most of the semiconductor based devices such as transistors and its applications, which we will be discussing definitely in the next modules. With this, I hope that you have got a feel of electronics devices which are used for various applications. So, I would like to thank you for paying attention for this module. Thank you.